I think in light of everything you're saying, I want to know more specifically about the one-day strike that you guys had in January. Was it just for workers of the LA Times? My understanding is that it came together very quickly. Like, can you talk more about that effort?
Yeah, so we actually very much were not intending to go on strike a few weeks ago. What happened is that our editor-in-chief, Kevin Mattd, very esteemed in our industry, left very suddenly. And it was very confusing why he left. It wasn't really explained clearly to us in the newsroom why we just had this very sudden turnover in leadership. So we got wind pretty quickly that a massive layoff was going to be coming to the newsroom. So our union, I'm the chair of our bargaining committee, we met with management and we met off the record, which is kind of unusual because our union, we do bargaining on the record. Any member can come in and watch bargaining if they want. We have it on Zoom.
Okay.
It's actually very public. And in our bylaws, members can come in and watch negotiations. It's neat. But these negotiations were off the record because obviously we would like to find alternatives to not having a massive layoff in our newsroom. And those weren't productive. And the thing that we got from management on the record at the end of those conversations is that yes, in fact, a massive cut would be coming into the newsroom. And they wouldn't say how many people it was going to be publicly, but we knew, and we knew that it was a massive number of journalists. The company gave us this weird trolley problem, which was they would agree to lay off 50 fewer journalists if we agreed to largely suspend the seniority protections in our contract. So the way that layoffs work in our newsroom, and this is true for a lot of unions, not all of them, but the people who are newer are generally first in line for layoffs if there's a layoff.
Right.
The company has some skips where it can kind of skip over people and protect them. But that's generally how the layoff policy works in the journalism industry. And the company said, we don't want to lay off all these people we hired, which makes sense, but also they wanted to pick and choose the people that they wanted to fire. And that put us in an impossible position because as a union, we don't play God with our coworkers' jobs.
Right.
I'm a reporter, and what's being asked of me is that I basically make it easier for some of my coworkers to get fired, but also that the responsibility of my coworkers not getting fired is also in my hands, which is an impossible choice, and the impossible choice of the bargaining committee. So we came to the conclusion, basically literally overnight, that we needed to go out on a one-day strike. So,
and do you guys have a strike authorization vote like we do, or is it just we're doing it?
This one was very much a we're doing it situation. Normally, and I think this is true for almost all unions, and including for the News Guild, which is our parent union, which we're part of. There's a strike authorization vote for open-ended strikes like the Writers Guild had last year, where you don't know how long it's going to last. There may be strike relief benefits. It's kind of like a massive event that has an indeterminate ending. There's a whole procedure for that.
Right.
But what the News Guild's become known for, especially in the last year or so, are doing a ton of one-day work stoppages. They're a lot more informal because it's just you go out and then you come back in.
Got it.
It's not like an open-ended thing. And so we had this Zoom meeting over the lunch break the following day where I think 300 out of our 400 members showed up on the Zoom call. And we're like, look, guys, this is the big one. And management has made this impossible dilemma that it wants us to sort of respond to. And I think we have to push back, and we can do that by going out on a one-day strike. So we didn't do a vote. What we said was, look, go with your conscience. We're recommending that this is necessary because this is it. The newsroom's just going to look different if this thing hits. So follow your conscience, vote with your feet. And, we'll trust everybody to make that decision for themselves if they want to. And so I think we had something like more than 90% of our members walk out the next day. And we just arranged in a hurry. We already had a call list of people to try to phone up people and be like, hey, are you committed to walking out tomorrow? We organized a big rally downtown, actually across the street from City Hall. And it was beautiful. And when the layoffs hit the next week, there were 56 fewer layoffs than we were led to believe would happen.